Hi Dave, it's Elliot from Soul Food. How you doing?
I'm good, man.
The whole album just feels like it's got a real mood to it. I'm kind of bobbing my head as I'm listening to it. You
Sure.
grew up in the East Village in the 90s, right? Was there a big hip hop influence for you?
I mean, absolutely. Growing up in the city at that time, I was born in 78, but, when I was, yeah, around like 12, 13, East Coast hip hop was at a very special moment in New York and, with De La Soul and Tribe Called Quest, and they made a big, big impact on me for sure.
Yeah, you can definitely hear it. It's
Yeah.
super. It's a
Like
super nice merge that you've got going on.
well, that's what I like most of my early musical vibe was all all hip hop. And then I started playing trumpet around the same time, but was mostly just doing like classical trumpet and then, eventually mostly jazz. And then after, in my later in my career, I was with the Dap-Kings and all the soul music. So I feel like all those three genres kind of blend into each other at some point, in musical history, as far as the soul stuff being sampled for the hip hop, and then the soul guys listen to the jazz guys. So it's all kind of one thing to me, as far as my career, and it just made like I wanted to have notes of everything in my own music.
Dave, you got credits with Al Green, Amy Winehouse, Pharrell, and you're playing with the Roots now on the Tonight Show as well.
Yeah.
Why did you want to make a solo album?
I had wanted to do it for so long, so it was just a matter of timing as well. I've done so busy with the Roots and the show and touring and all the other bands that this moment that we had the writer strike on television, and it was like I had a 5 month break, and I had started to kind of already begin the process of not officially saying that I'm recording a record, but just more so going into the studio with Homer Steinweiss and Nick Bobshan, my two producers on the record, who I've known pretty much my whole musical career. That Homer is an original Dap-King as well, and Nick was in Antibalas and El Michaels Affair and all these other bands, and we've just known each other forever. And it initially started with me just being a bit not so satisfied musically just with the TV gig, even though, I love the gig and I love the Roots. It can be a bit monotonous. And I just, literally asked them, I was like, you guys want to just go in the morning and just jam and just vibe out and have some fun and just make music, literally. And then that turned into what we have, Ruby. And it was this moment with the writer's strike that really just gave me more time to do it. So it was like just a real serendipitous, perfect moment.
And did you have ideas from before that, or did you just go in
No,
with a
we
fresh
just went in
plate?
completely fresh palette, like just fresh plate, like nothing planned. And it was usually just the three of us in there at like 11 a.m., with some coffee and just like sitting down, breaking out an old synthesizer, finding a good sound, and then all just jamming for like 20 minutes, finding a groove that we liked, and then just adding from there. And then we got into a good groove with doing that, and we just it really the snowball effect just hit, and we found something special in that moment.
Were there any challenges you came across doing a piece of work to represent yourself as a solo artist?
You know, Somehow it was really a very smooth process all the way through, like even just the recording, the artwork, the it's just the layout of the record, the mixing of it. It really was a great process. I really enjoyed it, and it there were no big hiccups in it. Knock on wood.
It sounds like, yeah, it sounds like it was a breath of fresh air, and it's
It
definitely a
really
breath of
was,
fresh air to listen to as well.
I really appreciate it, man. I'm definitely super super proud of it. I didn't have super like high expectations. I just didn't know it was my first one, and I obviously want to make a great product, but I'm like in some ways I don't want to say surprised at how well it turned out, but like it's like I'm just really, really proud of it, and I'm just so happy that people are, as into it as I am.
Is that the Ruby that the album's named after that I'm hearing?
That is Ruby. Yeah. That is Ruby.
It's beautiful what you've created around the album. Obviously, naming it after your daughter Ruby as well, and then going into it, how you have the collaboration feels like a really warm energy.
Yeah, no, that's where we were coming from, and I'm glad it came across that way.
Dave, do you have any creative practices or just practices and systems in general for maintaining inspiration? Obviously, Ruby's a source of one, by the sounds of it.
But just surrounding myself with all my guys that from I'm lucky to have two different musical families. Like I have the Roots family, and then I have the whole Daptone and Big Crown family. And it's just nice to have different sources of inspiration through your colleagues. I really take it from that, like being inspired by my friends who are unbelievable musicians. And, we have this incredible studio also. And it's just like this place where it's at this point where it's like kind of on cruise control, and we can just go in and we can really get inspiration from each other.
What's the live setup look like, Dave? Have you been playing the album quite a bit?
My band, I've played a couple gigs. I have a couple coming up in February. So it's usually Homer plays drums, Nick Mavchan on bass, and then I have Marco Benevento play keys. He's an amazing keyboard player. I usually have percussion and then trumpet and saxophone.
That sounds great. Have you got any plans to come to the UK?
I'm really trying to figure out how to do a little Europe and UK vibe. Yeah, I would love to. It's just so hard with the Tonight Show and the Roots touring, but I definitely need to figure that out. Yeah, maybe we can do a quick weekend jaunt or something. But yeah,
Dave, what's next for you as a solo artist? What do you want to achieve?
Well, I definitely, am trying to figure out how to keep the momentum of this record going right now. So I have a couple live gigs. I have a gig at Brooklyn Academy of Music and another one at this great institution called the Massachusetts Art Institute. But just trying to keep the momentum going with some live gigs, first of all, but then like getting into the studio immediately and trying to just work on the next one. That's really the main goal, like ASAP. On the other front, we have a new Budos record coming out this year and a new Menahan Street Band record. So those are very near and dear to my heart as well. Like I feel like Menahan is basically, like my favorite band of all the bands. So like I'm very excited about that one. And it's all the same guys, Homer and Nick are on that as well. So it's really, really making like a very concerted effort not to make it sound like a Menahan record, because it was basically all the same guys. That's another reason why I wanted to have that kind of bit of hip hop in it, just to like differentiate it from the Menahan sound, because it's all the same dudes and it could have easily went down that road, So I think that's another reason where I really wanted to try and add a little bit more of that hip hop to my sound.
And the jazz as well, man. Who are your jazz influences? What are you currently listening to, Dave? What do you reckon we should be listening to?
Now, I really love all the stuff that Alchemist is doing with like all the more hip hop stuff with the Rock Marciano and West Side Gun and all the Griselda guys. I'm really into that stuff. I actually started, it's not my normal thing, but I listened to the Bad Bunny record a little bit, and I'm very into that too, somehow. But then a lot of older stuff, mostly a lot of African stuff and Ethiopian stuff. Nick Mavchan made this amazing, like 4-hour mix of amazing soul tunes. I can send you to check out that I love as well. It's all over the place, but a lot of hip hop lately, honestly.
Okay. Yeah, please send that over. I'd love to check that out. Yeah, there's some great African music coming out at the moment. It's like people have found these tapes and they're putting them all online on compilations and stuff
Yeah,
now as well.
I
So
I I really love that stuff. I especially love like when they're trying to like play like James Brown kind of stuff. Sounds like all janky. Like that's my favorite.
yeah, please send some stuff. I'd love to listen to it. Thanks so much for taking the time to chat. Would you like to
Yeah, my
introduce
pleasure.
your song for us?
How's it going? This is Dave Guy. Please enjoy my single Seventh Heaven from the album Ruby on Soul Food.